Hello there viewers, and welcome back to another video today here on Gran Turismo Sport. So today you join us for round 8 of the Medway Racing League Group 3 series, and as you can see on screen we are here at Interlagos for the second time in recent times, having been here not too long ago with Club 100. So you join us then for qualifying, as you can see on screen, so qualifying is just beginning. So for this round we've got a couple of new drivers joining the league. We've got, you can see in second and third at the moment, we've got Zolo from Dubai, and we've also got the Ancient Pleb from India. Two very good drivers, the Ancient Pleb being an A+ racing driver, very quick. Yeah, I didn't know who he was at this point in time, but turns out he's a very quick driver. Also got Kelvin making his debut, who's down in 10th at the moment. Also very quick. Used to race against him in Club 73, and he was, well, basically me and Nathan and M1Ms, he was our closest challenger. So yeah, Kelvin, also a very good driver, making his debut today. As you can see, we are now exiting Juncal to begin our first lap of qualifying. So Interlagos is a track which I know it quite well. It's a track I am reasonably strong around, but I tend to struggle quite a lot with the infield section. I tend to lose time there. It's not one of my best circuits. Done quite a lot of laps around here, but not one of my best tracks. So coming in then across the start finish line to begin our first lap of qualifying, we are braking at the 50-metre board for the centre S's, then taking a late apex through turn 1, and then cutting turn 2 as much as possible. Slight lift through turn 2 to make sure you don't run wide then for the Curva del Sol. Now coming onto the Reta Reposta, I find turn 4 here, the Decido del Lago, I find it to be a very difficult corner. I can never get it right for some reason, there's something about it. But anyway, slamming on the brakes at the tarmac on the right hand side of the circuit, and then chucking it in. Managed to take the corner quite well actually, so that wasn't too bad. We didn't fully maximise the track limits on exit, but no, that was quite decent. That's better than it normally goes to Decido del Lago. Now coming into the Ferreradura, just stabbing the brakes, just a very quick dab of the brakes at the 50-metre board coming to this corner, and then coming into the SA, you want to be cutting this corner as much as possible, getting all over that grass on the inside, then dabbing the brakes for Pinarino, and then getting on the power really early out of here. You can get on the power a lot earlier out of there than you think, because the corner is a banked corner. Then coming into the Bico de Pato, quite awkward that. You want to be braking just as the green bits ends on the left, the green tarmac ends, and yeah, coming now down into Juncal for the last proper corner of the lap. You want to be braking about 60 metres before the corner, take a little bit too much of the curb, then get on the grass on the inside, which did cause us to get understeer midway through that corner. But coming out of this last corner now, coming up to the start finish line, you want to be taking basically the shortest line possible on the run to the line. You want to be travelling the least amount of distance. You want a qualifying lap at the end of the day. So coming across the line then, that is a 1 minute 29.863, which has for the time being got us pole position, but this is obviously only the first lap of quali, so I wouldn't read too much into the lap times at the moment. But 29.8, pretty decent. That to do a 1:29 round in Interlagos is difficult, so yeah, pretty happy with that, especially considering that we've got a full tank of fuel. So moving ahead now to the end of qualifying, as you can see, we did not manage to improve on that lap, frustratingly. The lap after that was actually only 1,000th of a second slower. We were only 1,000th off, so yeah, oh so nearly got improved on the lap, but not quite. So as you can see, Ryan ended up taking pole position. So Ryan gets pole with a 1 minute 29.6. Very good lap there by Ryan. It was being difficult for me to do a 1:29.6. That would have taken a pretty special lap. So that was very well done then by Ryan. Now, before I show you the highlights of the race itself, first of all, I'm going to show you some highlights of some pre-race shenanigans that we had. So what you're watching on the screen now is what's called a fake race. So annoyingly in Gran Turismo, when you have a qualifying session, it has to be followed up immediately by a race, which means that if anyone disconnects during qualifying, or if anyone turns up late, so they turn up during qualifying, or there's any sort of issues like that, they then can't make the race, which is very annoying. As a result, for this round we brought in what's called a fake race. So you basically have qualifying, then a 1 lap race, and then you actually have the proper race after a pause, so you can let anyone who missed out on qualifying or whatever, you can then let them join in for the race itself. So as the race begins, this fake race is basically we just have a muck about, we just punt each other off kind of thing. It's just a laugh, a 1 lap muck about. So you would have thought we would have punted off Ryan into turn 1. That's what you would have thought would have happened, and Ryan was expecting it. He was weaving on the start finish line waiting for me to punt him, but no, I did not punt him into turn 1. Instead, I held back until turn 4, before and then caught him by surprise and sent him off flying. But unfortunately, we've come off worse there. Ryan didn't go that far off the circuit. I think he was on the brakes when we hit him, so he didn't go too far off. We were the one that went flying off. But as you can see, Ryan is now turning hard right and going across the grass, and we are now following him. And check this out. As we do the mother of 360s over the top of Adam to Ron. That was yeah, a very good skill move that I pulled off there. We're now going across the grass at 90 degrees to the direction of travel. We've just given somebody the fright of their life as we have appeared out of nowhere. The game has just annoyingly reset us back to circuit, but we are going again now. We've got Ryan trying to cut the Bico de Pato in front, but he's just been reset to circuit. Me and Dimitar have now just suffered the same fate. Ryan again trying to cut the Bico de Pato, but again the game is not allowing him. And so now going across, going through the Bico de Pato properly, we've got Diman Ivanov in front, the fellow Bulgarian, doing a handbrake turn in front of everybody else, causing carnage. We've got myself now trying to do the mother of all cuts across Junkao, but predictably the game also resets us. We've got Ryan just gone flat out into Junkao, and he's now miles off the circuit doing a Kimi Raikkonen impression. Ryan's now coming out of nowhere, rejoining the circuit, and we are of course going to go for a punt. Of course we were going to. What else were we going to do? Ryan's now taking the alternate chicane through this final section of circuit, where again we're trying to slam Ryan into the wall, but that was a bit of a fail shot. Now we're waiting up for Ryan once more, waiting to squash him into the wall, but instead he gives us a punt, and we do a superb 360 actually as we come up to the start finish line, and Ryan is yet reversing across the line, and so that is that. But quite bizarrely, we haven't taken the checkered flag. Even though we've completed that one lap, we haven't finished. Reason being that we didn't go across the end of sector 2 line, so I didn't realise what was going on at this point in time. But yeah, because we haven't gone across the sector 2 line, the game did not count that lap. So the game still thinks that we're on our first lap as we go slamming into the back of the fake race winner, the Ancient Pleb, and our car just comes grinding to a halt. Yeah, for some strange reason, the Ancient Pleb's car didn't move when I hit it. It seems to weigh an absolute ton. So all very odd. And now I'm pressing the pause button and trying to quit because I'm realising that everyone else is, waiting for me. Everyone's waiting for me to finish. I'm trying to press the pause button and nothing's happening. I'm just spamming the pause button and I'm like, what the hell? So the game will not let me pause. I can't quit the race. I'm the host of the lobby, so I can't quit the lobby because that will just bring the whole game crashing down. So at this point I'm like, oh damn, I need to finish this lap as soon as possible because yeah, everyone's going to be sitting at the screen right now bored waiting for me to finish. In the end we never even managed to finish the fake race because as we were coming up to the start finish line, the game suddenly took over. The results suddenly came up and that was the end of that for us. So as we go on board with Dimitar here and see that quite frankly epic skill move from ourselves, you can see me off there, off to the right, miles off the circuit, having gone for my punt on Ryan into the Desierto de Lago. Now having a look ahead, you can see Ryan turning hard right and going across the grass, and I then follow now. And well, just check this out. Look at Adam Tebron and just watch my car come flying into shot, do a full 360 over the top of both Adam and Ryan. And now, as Dimitar thinks that's the end of that, have a look at this. As I come flying out of nowhere. He must, well, I must have given him the fright of his life, to be honest. He must not have been expecting that, as I just come across the track at 90 degrees to the direction of travel. So yeah, that was that. Enough of the mucking around though, enough of all the fun and games, and time for the actual serious proper race itself. So as you can see then, Ryan starting on pole, remember, with that 1:29.6. You got me starting in second place. We've got the debutant, the Ancient Pleb, starting all the way up in P3, so that's a very good qualifying from himself. You've got Adam starting in 4th, you've got Dimitar in P5, and then you've got John starting down in P6. So waiting for the race to start then. Strategy for this race, there's lots of different options. So you can do the one stop, but that is going to require some fuel saving. So this Supra, I was getting 16 laps out of a tank flat out. So you can one stop, you can pit lap 19. But tyres are going to be a real issue as well if you try one stopping. Your super softs are going to be dead by the time you come to pit. You can also do the two stop, so you can pit on lap 13, and that was my intention when this race started, was to do lap 13 and then lap 26. And you can also do what I ended up doing, so you'll see in a few laps time the strategy that I end up attempting. So on lap 1 then, we are behind Ryan. We are fortunately within his slipstream range. Unlike at Bathurst, the game did not do us over, and we were within his slipstream range as soon as the race begun. So heading down now to the Desierto de Lago for the first time this race. I do want to get past him because, as I've stated in previous videos, I don't like following people. I really hate it. I end up just punting them off, and I hate it. I hate being in slipstream. I much prefer someone to sit behind me and bump draft me along. So coming through the infield section then for the first time this lap, we are right behind Ryan, and we are within range of going for a move. And as we move ahead to the end of the lap, we have got a run on Ryan as we approach the start-finish line. So going down towards turn 1 then, are we going to go for an overtaking manoeuvre? So we have now pulled over to the right. We are on the outside, which is not the favourable place for this corner. We are slamming on the brakes at the 50 metres board, and we have managed to yeet it round the outside of Ryan at turn 1. So we've managed to go for what is, in my opinion, a very good overtake round the outside of a very, very good driver in Ryan Sandel. So yeah, we've got past him now through turn 1, but now Ryan is looking to go back up our inside. We are having a bit of a disagreement here as to who should lead, and Ryan is now back up our inside into the Distilled del Lago. So Ryan is now back into P1, and this disagreement does continue. So as we move ahead to the end of this lap, I am gaining on Ryan on the way down to turn 1, so we have got a big speed advantage on him here. Are we going to go for a move into the first corner? No, we are not, but we are instead going to give him a little bit of a tap from behind, and Ryan is going to get unsettled from that. So yeah, that was my mistake there. That's why I don't like following people, basically, because that ends up happening. I really do hate having the slipstream like that and having speed advantages. So we're going to let Ryan go here. I don't want to go back past him because yeah, that's not fair. That's not the right thing to do when you've just punted someone. So I'm lifting off here and letting him stay in front, and all this scobbling has enabled the guys behind us to catch us back up. So you can see the ancient pleb occasionally appearing on the radar. So he is now right behind us, and Adam Tebron and Dimitar are not far behind him. As a result, I decided not to battle through the infield section. I instead decided to just short shift and save fuel. But we now are on the end of the lap. We are going back up to turn 1. We have again got the slipstream on Ryan. We've got a big speed advantage. Are we going to go for a move this time? Yes, we are. So we are sending it up Ryan's inside into the first corner, and we have managed to make the move stick. So we did not punt Ryan from behind like we did last lap. We've instead sent it up the inside. Now I'm expecting Ryan to go back up my inside into Destino del Lago like he did last time. So I'm going to defend into turn 4 here. So we have gone all the way over to the left. You are not coming up our inside again, Ryan. So Ryan has instead, he's sending it around the outside of us, and we are giving him space on exit there as he is fully alongside. So we have to give him space. Now heading up to the Ferreradura, we've got the ancient player right behind us giving us a bit of a bump draft. We've got Ryan on our inside, and well, there's 3 right-handers now, so there's not much we can do other than, well, basically back out of it and let Ryan go. So we are slightly side by side here, but we do eventually let Ryan pull in front. And well, we're also trying not to let the other guys past here at this point in time. That is the thing, we don't want people to go past us. I do not want to be falling back into the pack. I absolutely do not want to do that. I'd rather sit behind Ryan and fuel save than fall back into the pack. Moving ahead to lap 7 now, I want you to have a look at the gap between me and Ryan, both visually and on the leaderboard up on the left hand side. So have a look at that live gap between us. So coming into the Ferreradura then, the gap was 0.25 seconds, so Ryan was a quarter of a second in front of us. But as you're about to see through this infield section here at Interlagos, Ryan was very strong slash I was very weak. It was one of the two, because Ryan was pulling a considerable gap on me. So over the course of the last few corners, Ryan has already managed to pull half a second on us, and we have fallen out of slipstream range. So we have gone from being right behind Ryan into the Ferreradura to now being out of his slipstream range by the time we exit this infield section. So coming out of Juncal now, Ryan is 0.8 seconds in front of us and firmly out of the slipstream range. So when I saw this happen, this was happening most laps of the way. When I saw this happen, I was like, right, I'm not going to beat Ryan here just on straight up pace. Now that we are out of his slipstream range, I am going to really struggle to keep up with him here. He is inevitably going to fly off into the distance every time we get to that infield section. So at this point, I decided to try something wacky. I decided to change up the strategy. So moving ahead then to the end of the lap, I decided to come into the pit lane, ignoring the track limits here into the pits. There are no track limits coming into the pit lane here at Interlagos. So I am now pitting, still got more than half a tank left, but basically what I decided to do was I decided to try and do the mother of all undercuts. So pitting then, like I say, on at the end of lap 8, the fuel does last 16-17 laps. So we're going to basically pit at the end of whatever it would be, lap 22. So we're going to go lap 8 to lap 22 and then lap 22 to lap 36. So trying to do the undercut here. Unfortunately though, as you can see, we have come out into traffic, so we've got 3 cars who haven't yet pitted right in front of us, which is rather annoying. Moving ahead a couple of laps there, we did unfortunately lose a considerable amount of time behind these guys. So unfortunately on the previous lap, I'm not going to show the incident, but basically I overtook a guy and he then decided to shove me straight off the circuit. Completely shoulder barred me off the track. So that has lost us, well, that incident alone lost us 2 seconds. Fortunately Mark Hughes doesn't shove off the circuit though, and he does let us straight past. So yeah, he lifts off before we get to the Desiderio Lago. So we're now up to P11 as we try and navigate our way past the people who haven't yet stopped. 4 laps later, it's now time for Ryan to make his pit stop. So if you have a look at the leaderboard on the left hand side, Ryan has now pulled into the pit lane with 9% of a tank remaining. So Ryan's pitting then at the end of lap 15. So Ryan's very much gone long on his first stint, as opposed to us who very much went short on our first stint. Now unfortunately, over the few laps that I've just skipped ahead, we were held up by more back markers. They didn't hold us up half as much, but they did hold us up nonetheless. So we lost a lot of time behind those back markers. We should have been doing high 1 minute 29s and low 1 minute 30s, but as you can see on the right hand side, it was all a bit of a mess with 1:31.7 thrown in and some high 1:30s as well. So we lost a lot of time behind those back markers. Ryan's now exiting the pits, so we've got Ryan right behind us, but Ryan has put a lot more fuel in than we did. So we have, in reality, lost quite a lot of time to Ryan over the course of these 6 laps. Ryan then put his brand new super soft tyres to good use over the next 3 laps by setting a new fastest lap of the race and catching us right up. It only took him actually a lap and a half to reel in a 1.7 gap. So yeah, Ryan caught us up very quickly. He's now in our slipstream on the run now, down to turn 1, down to the Senior S's. And we're not going to fight it. We can see how much pace Ryan has got. Ryan, like I say, he's on brand new tyres, whereas our laps are by this point they're like 8-9 laps old. So we are struggling for grip here as Ryan comes past us. Ryan, by the way, that penalty that you can see that he's got, he picked that up cutting the corner at turn 2. And penalties are easy to pick up here at Interlagos. Ryan was actually behind us for a while, burning off his penalty. So every time he got to a braking zone, he was purposely braking early to try and scrub off that penalty, which he has pretty much managed to do by this point. 3 laps later, it was time for us to make our second stop of the race. So as you can see, Ryan pulled quite a gap on us over the course of those 3 laps, and he's now near enough 4.5 seconds in front of us. So Ryan really did put his new tyre advantage to good use. So pulling it into the pit lane then for what should be our final stop of the race, I realised that I was not going to beat Ryan if I just filled the tank and went to the end here. I realised there was no chance because Ryan had about 20% more fuel than we did at this point in time and was 4 seconds ahead. So there was no chance of me catching him up if I just did a conventional strategy. So instead, what I've done here is I've only put half a tank in, and I'm going to be going flat out now and basically just putting qualifying laps in to see if there's anything I can do to try and beat him. So we're coming out of the pits now. We are in P5 or P6, is it? Yes, it is. It's going to be P6 as Dimitar comes past us, having only made 1 stop so far. So we're in P6, and we're just going to go for a qualifying run basically. Ryan has a fastest lap, as you can see at this point in time. He has a fastest lap of a 1:29.8, and we are going to try and beat that and try and take those 3 bonus points off him. We did indeed manage to do that on our very first lap of this stint. So as you can see, as we come across the line, we set a 1:29.702. So that is going to take some beating from Ryan to try and get those points back off of us. So we've got bonus points now, got those for the fastest lap of the race. We do though have people in front of us, and we are kind of racing these to the end because we only put half a tank in. We are going to have to stop again for more fuel. So we're going to have to stop again, as are the people in front who are yet to make their second stop of the race. So we are sort of fighting for position with these guys, although we will have to put a lot less fuel in when we do pit, so we will gain quite a lot of time on them then. 2 of the guys in front then did pull into the pit lane at the end of that lap, so that just left the Ancient Pleb to make our way past to navigate. So as the Ancient Pleb runs wide now out of Desiderio Lago, we are on the run going up to Ferreira Dura. Are we going to be able to make a move into this right-hander? Yes, we are. So this is an unconventional overtaking overtaking spot, not somewhere where you would normally go for a move, but we have indeed gone up his inside, and we are going to be able to make the move stick here through the SA. So we are now back up into P2, and as we pull into the pits lane for the final time on lap 30 of the race, as you may have seen, we did actually have Ryan just behind us when we pulled into the pits here. So Ryan's a whole pit stop ahead of us basically. He has done very well this lap, so just topping the tank back up, then putting the half a tank that you need to get to the end of this race. Now we do need to keep an eye out on the Ancient Pleb, because he actually did very well on fuel himself. When he made his second stop of the race, he only had to put 40% of a tank in, so he had to put no more fuel in than we have had to here. So coming out of the pit lane, we've got the Ancient Pleb right behind us in this race to the end. So yeah, we've got the Ancient Pleb to contend with here. Is he going to be able to overtake us into the Cedar Lugger? He's got the speed advantage on us, but no, we have gone defensive and he has not been able to go for the move. So I think at this point the Ancient Pleb realised that, well, we've got new super soft tyres on, and we've got the pace advantage over him. So no, he did not fight with us. He did spend the next few laps behind us, so he did keep up with us, and there were opportunities for him to go past, but no, he did not. And as we move ahead to the end of the race, as you can see, we end up finishing a comfortable P2 with Ryan miles out in front. And as I bring up the results here, as you can see, his margin of victory ended up being 15 seconds. So that was a very dominant win by Ryan. Interlagos does seem to be one of his strongest circuits. We saw that in Club 100 that Ryan was phenomenal when he won the Interlagos race around here. So yeah, Ryan doing very well indeed. Had I done the 2-stop, I probably could have been a lot closer, but no, I don't think I was ever going to beat him, to be honest. He was just very quick in that Viper. In third place, you had the Ancient Pleb. So on debut, he managed to finish in P3. So that is very impressive from him. And I think he is the fastest player in India. So yeah, very well done by him. And our championship rival, Dimitar, finishing down in P4, as I believe he tried doing the 1-stop. So that's good for us in terms of the championship. That is going to help us a lot with Dimitar finishing down in 4th place. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching that video. Next up is Laguna Seca. So that will be the next MRL race. But before then, I'm going to have a try at making a special video talking about the track limits at Le Mans, so like an in-depth guide for what the track limits are at every corner, and yeah, how to be fast around Le Mans. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that video if and when I am able to make it. So like, subscribe, do all of that good stuff, and I will see you then. So goodbye.